Hey y'all. Sorry I'm out of breath. I'm getting ready to leave for the European leg of the book signing and all the events and drum circles and all that stuff. It's August of 2023. And I already have a playlist for Pantherina. So depending on how or where you find this, there's other videos about Pantherina. So go look in that playlist. If it's on my YouTube channel, go to my channel, click on playlist. If it's on amanitadreamer.net, go back to the page where all the videos are and look for the Pantherina playlist. Today I want to talk to you about actually using Pantherina. First, the warnings. Please do not start with Pantherina. Amanita Pantherina. It is brown. This is the only one I have right now. They're all gone because I've been working really hard on my store and getting it fully stocked. So I'm waiting on my next shipment to come in. They don't grow down here in the southern U.S. They're more of a much colder region mushroom. They are much rarer than Amanita muscarias are. But yeah, that's what it looks like, right? Please don't start with this mushroom. This is a seriously advanced mushroom. It does have different things in it, like stizzolobic and stizolobinic acid. Again, other videos. As far as the actives go, ibotenic acid, muscimol, muscarine, all that stuff, still the same as Amanita muscaria, but it is up to 10 times stronger. Any one Pantherina mushroom can be 10 times stronger than any one muscaria. It is an advanced mushroom, and I know people ignore me and they don't pay attention and they say, well, I did it first and I was fine. Sorry, y'all don't sound like that. It's just really frustrating when I try to give warnings the way I do and people freaking ignore me. Please don't ignore me about this. Please. When should you use Pantherina? How would you start with Pantherina? In what arena is Pantherina a thing that you should do? What is the capacity it can serve you in? When do you know you should start it? How do you tiptoe into it? All the very good questions that you have been asking me. Here we go. Amanita Pantherina feels so different from Amanita muscaria. The onset, the ibotenic acid side, while much more of an excitatory state. Okay, maybe you don't know anything about sound compression. But when you are working on sound and you have this wide range of a track that you're working on, just say spoken word. I just got finished recording my audiobook and we're mastering it right now. So that's what's on my mind. My audiobook is for sale at Audible if you want to go get it, or just Dosing Amanita muscaria and What to Expect. The paperback and the hardback are at Mushroom Voice. But it's a much more richer and intense experience. By that I mean, just because you got 10 times more ibotenic acid doesn't mean you're having 10 times more than off the charts excitability. However, it does still have 10 times more ibotenic acid, which means dosing is like a whole other thing that I will get into. And yes, you have to be very careful about the ibotenic acid side of this thing because you could go directly into the gastric distress and shitting yourself and cramping and being bent over in pain and throwing up because you can just jump straight into toxicity levels of ibotenic acid. But what I'm saying is, even if you take the correct starting amount, even if you partially convert it in the tea like I will talk about and you should do, it's still going to have a much more intense ibotenic acid experience attached to it. Then, when that converts to muscimol in your body, the trip experience on muscimol is so much richer and deeper in layers that that's going to be a very hard thing for me to explain, and I'll struggle with it. My point is this. Let's say I'm throwing random measurements out there. These are not actual measurements, but let's say you take your regular macro or low level trip dose of Amanita muscaria. Let's say you figured out what that equivalent is going to be in Pantherina. You can't, but let's say you do, right? They technically should feel the same because they're the same amount of ibotenic acid, but they do not. The energy of Amanita Pantherina is much more grandfatherly, father time, ancient wisdom. If muscaria lets you dance and play on the surface before you fall down the rabbit hole, and then that rabbit hole you're tumbling through time, if that is Amanita muscaria, Amanita Pantherina is coming up from the surface and going, hey, yank. That is the best way I know how to describe Pantherina. It's not bad though. I am in awe and reverence of it. And if I loved Amanita muscaria and it had been in reverence to it, I am doubly so in reverence to Pantherina. It feels like a king. It feels like the wise man on the mountain. It feels every bit like what I would hope a wise man on a mountain would be. If you listen to my warnings about using muscimol, then this is just even 10 times more true about Pantherina. Please go watch my warnings and all of my videos about full muscimol conversion and my warnings that you should wait to do that until you've used it in microdose and macrodose. And I talk about why. So when should you start with Pantherina? My opinion is clearly listen to that inner wisdom, but you should be at the very, very, very least a year's experience with Amanita muscaria in every single capacity. Smoking it in blends, putting it on your skin in an oil, taking it with the tea in ibotenic acid, a 50-50-ish tea conversion, a full muscimol conversion, in microdosing, macrodosing, and trip dosing. You should be also potentially using other entheogens to get a higher, different perspective on being human. You should be well on your way to have coped with a lot of your trauma, PTSD, and have steadily healed it and feel solid, and most of your days are very regulated, grounded, and good before you even begin to work with Pantherina. Personally, it was year 3 for me after starting with Amanita muscaria before I started with Amanita Pantherina. So I will get into dosing Pantherina in the next video, but this one I just wanted you to know how I feel about Pantherina, what its place is, and what I believe you can do with it. We will talk about smoke blends and full muscimol conversions, and yeah, in the next video. I want to say the place that I believe Amanita Pantherina holds is it is highly, highly advanced. It is graduation for the work you have done. It is elite healing for people who were willing to do the shadow work, deal with the deep, dark pain of grieving, confronting shame, dealing with loss, talking it through, doing integration, going through the fear to push their doses of muscaria higher and higher, and their psilocybin work, more integration to the point where you are no longer afraid of what's in here, and you've got a pretty decent idea of what's going on, and you have not been in psychosis through any of it. If you've ever been in a state of psychosis, do not ever use Amanita Pantherina. Same warnings as muscaria, schizoaffective disorders, bipolar disorder, manic depression, any of those things. Diagnosed or not, please don't use this. the role that it plays is two separate things. One, for the PTSD trauma survivor, it can go to the deepest, darkest foundation of what all of your pain and trauma is connected to at its very most basic, and yank that out and put it in your face and heal it rapidly, especially if it's done on a solstice or an equinox, especially. That's one side of the way that Pantherina heals. The other thing that Pantherina is for is shaman training. It is the advanced spiritual state. It takes you to places through time, vertically and horizontally, until you're walking on another realm and engaging in another world with other entities and beings like you live there, and you're downloading packets and packages of information, and it feels like soaking in a soup or a bath and absorbing from all around your consciousness knowledge you used to know, like the universal knowledge. And it, of all of the really high dose psilocybin experiences I've had, which all were building blocks to this, I believe it was my high dose Pantherina experience that shifted everything into a place that I can only describe as a shamanic level space. It feels like not everybody has that door opened and gets to peer into that area. And it's not about worthiness or being lucky or being special. It's just because the sheer numbers of people who don't tend to follow through with all of this. For whatever reason, they don't need it, they don't care, they're in denial, it's too painful, they don't want to. Life events happen and they can't get to the medicine, they can't travel, they for whatever reason cannot get to all of those experiences. And so when I say elite, I don't mean chosen. Nobody's chosen on this path. We can all go there. We just all have different things that can prevent us from getting there. I mean elite as in just not many people wind up in that space for all of the reasons, fair and unfair. And that doesn't mean I'm chosen or special. It means I have a lot of privilege, and it means I've done a lot of work. Anyway, it's waiting for anyone and everyone who wants to go there and use it. But again, me getting to the point where I could take a high dose of Pantherina was yet again a year and a half's worth of more work. So not everybody's going to get the same thing out of it for reasons fair and unfair. I don't mean to sound cryptic or stuttered or slow or like, usually my words are falling off my tongue. It's just that it's such an advanced mushroom. It is such an advanced experience that it is really escaping my ability to put language to it. And I know you depend on me to be really good at that. And I keep looking off camera because I'm searching, my brain is searching for the words. But it really gets into realms where it's beyond language. Even my high dose psilocybin chips to me feel much more awake and aware and connected to this experience, and that I'm just going there with this consciousness. Whereas on Pantherina, I feel like I check my consciousness out the door and I morph into something else where there is no language. And then when I'm put back in my meat sack, I'm like, what the fuck? How do I say what that was? How do I describe what it's doing inside my body and my beingness and my consciousness here? So I'll keep working on it. I'll make more videos. This is just sort of like my introductory to using it. And I don't want you to say, oh, well, then that's not for me. Then I'm just not going to use it. No, like, do, please. And you don't have to jump into the high dose. Once you feel good about Muscaria and you feel like you feel grounded and safe, then in the next video, I'll start talking about dosing and how to begin introducing it into your body and you getting an introduction to Pantherina. And everything that I do is free on AmanitaDreamer.net. A lot of this is going to be censored here on YouTube, I think. So we'll see how long it lasts. But to pay for all of it, please go to Mushroom Voice and you can come join our community and talk to us about your use of it or get advice or help or whatever if you want to start using it. But like my store, I got a whole bunch of new products in the works, or if by the time you see this already created. And if you want to keep up with where I'm going to be, when new products are made, when new videos are uploaded, I put out a newsletter only 2 times a month because I hate getting too much email too. If you're not on the newsletter list, you should be. Go to AmanitaDreamer.net. Get on that list. I do a lot of giveaways. I do a lot of lives. I pull oracle cards. I like to play. So come play in my world. I love you, beautiful people. Bye.